podcast, Abigail. We are already in like full vibe mode, so we should have hit record a little bit ago, but here we go. So welcome to the show.
Oh, Jennifer, thank you for having me. Let's do this. Let's chat. Let's talk about what's on the heart. Let's do it.
And I want to just like we'll restart our conversation, but as an extension, we were talking about your business, Moon Goddess Academy, which first,
Yes.
like, I'm gonna have to know where you got Moon Goddess from because I am a moon child through and through. But we were talking about like the publishing house and being a multi-author publisher and not going on this journey alone. So I want to know because you're a best-selling author of a multi-author book. That was a
Yeah.
lot of multis in there. But I want to know what got you into this. How did you get started in this world?
Yes. Okay. So let's start with the moon goddess aspect of it. So my company is Moon Goddess Academy, which focuses more on the spiritual teachings, the mastery, the mentorship. That's where I bring it. And then the Moon Goddess Publishing is where I create a platform for people to come to share their stories. Because I realize the women I work with, their lives, like I know that it will save someone. And so I'm always like, you need to share your story. You need to share your story. So now I have the opportunity to give them that platform to do that in a way that feels good. That's very important. So let's talk about Moon, the Moon Goddess piece, how it came in. It's very interesting. Not a lot of people ask me this question. So when someone does, I am like, thank you for asking. Because I feel like people hear the name and automatically they connect it to the moon, which there's an aspect of that. But the moon aspect that I use is the deeper self. So moon goddess is your higher, like the what word am I looking for? The higher aspect of the woman that is deep. So you're connecting to your deep self and you're bringing it to the forefront. That is not going to be hiding in there. It is the main operating system, and not being afraid to dive in deep, because we know in the moon mysteries, it's all about the inner world, right? So the goddess is like the sun that pushes that part forward. And that's the whole point of it. It's like, who you are, bring it to the forefront. Don't be afraid to show that in your life, to be like, step into the world. This is who I am. I don't care what you think. Because you know what? This life is too short for me to keep hiding in my own shell and never show myself or share my talents or share the things that bring me joy. This life is too short. So moon goddess, the whole point of it is to activate the inner goddess, bringing her out into the world so that she can stand in her power, in her confidence, in her fullness in the world. Yeah.
Oh, I love that and feel a little called out all at the same time. All at the same time. I'm like, okay, who doesn't need that in their life? Because if you're anything like me, we have these beautiful gifts inside,
Yes.
but something's happened along the way that has caused us to like, oh, I'm just going to turn down that like dimmer switch just a little bit, or maybe a little bit more and a little bit more.
Yeah.
So I want to know, did you ever have a story in your journey to where, you've created this moon, goddess, like this academy, and you're right, you have a publishing house. I mean, like you created an entire like platform for people to really embrace this inner fire, this inner goddess. Where did you wake up one day and you're like, this is it? Was it a journey?
I
Like,
wish.
we want to know the juice.
I wish that was no, my whole life journey brought me to that. The tools that I teach, the spiritual tools that I teach is something that I've always practiced. It's been my safe haven. I always say that I was born a spiritual child or a spirit. I'm a spiritual baby. No, that's not the word. A spirit baby. There we go. I was born in the energy of spirit. Spirit, the spiritual world is like as real to me as this world is to most people. I get it. Like that is like, it's like, that's my world. I get it. My connection to source is my soul food. I cannot live without my connection to source. That it doesn't make sense to me to be alive without that connection. That part of me has always been alive, and it's what has kept me moving on in life. It's what has given me that the faith and the trust and the comfort, and the ability to move forward even in the darkest of times. So, here I am just moving through the world, and, I would have friends who would come to me, and I'm the type of person, I'm sure you guys will relate to, where people come to you and just like spill everything. They're like, I don't know what it is about you. I just feel like telling you everything. And then after they're done, they're like, I just feel amazing. I don't know what you did, but thank you. And I'm like, what just happened? Like, I didn't even say a word, I'll give them like a tip, or, why don't you connect to your higher self? Or why don't you just take in a deep breath in, or go in nature, talk to the trees? It's just simple things that I thought that people knew, like everybody should know about it. So everybody knows about how to connect to your higher self, connect to the angels, archangels, how they all have a team around them constantly walking with them. Like I thought everybody knew this. And so I'm walking around the world just like, oh yeah, I'm telling you something that you already know. And it was always like, no, we don't know that. Thank you so much for telling me that. I'm like, what is happening here? So it was in grad school, and I was studying to be an acupuncturist. And my classmates were like, well, why don't you start teaching us about your meditations? Like just so we like chose a day. It was like Friday nights, like after our last class, and I'll create I had a classroom, and we would like create an altar, and they'll come, and I'll walk them through a meditation, and they'll find the answers that they needed. And this went on for a while, where the school caught on too, and the school was like, why don't we just open it to all the students? And I was like, okay, yeah, that's totally fine. And then after that, like, why don't we just open it to the entire community so that whoever wants to come? I was like, yeah, that's totally fine. I am studying to be an acupuncturist, and this is like the whole journey. I was the one teaching about spiritual teachings in there, but I wasn't connecting it. It was my, like when you're really good at something, you don't really notice the importance of it. You're just like, oh, I've done it. What are you talking about? This is nothing. This is like a hobby, like this is nothing, and it just, people would come to me, like my classmates were like, teach me how to protect my energy when I'm treating, patients in clinic. And I'm like, yeah, totally. Here you go. Or teach me how to, not be overwhelmed by other people's emotions, or not to take on other people's energies, or how to find my beloved. That was one thing there, like, can you please help me find my beloved? Or helping twin flames just understand each other. Like this was all like grad school coming through, people asking me this. And at the end of grad school, I remember asking my favorite teacher, I was like, do you see me as an acupuncturist? And at that time, I was already getting this hint that this wasn't my path. Like there was something more. Because as I was treating patients in clinic, I felt like there was so much more I could do, that just depending on the needles were hindering me. Like there was so much more I could do than just putting needles in people. And my patients felt that. And also because of that, they would request me, because they could feel that I could do so much more. And so I asked him, and he looked at me. He said, no. I was like, what do you mean by no? I'm about to graduate. Like, cut it out. He's like, no, you know damn well that you're meant to do something more than this. So you can either embrace it and stop kidding around. Like, you know what you need to do, and it's beyond this. You've come here to learn what you need to learn, but now it's time for you to go do what you need to do. And I was like, I don't know what you mean. Like, this was my plan. Acupuncturist, graduate, take my boards, get my practice. So after that conversation, I was like, yeah, I see now. Okay. It's a spiritual work. It's a spiritual work. And, I came to this conclusion because when the universe is showing you something, it becomes relentless. It will show you all the ways, like reminders constantly. My classmates were like, one of the first ones that took me off guard, one of my classmates was like, you can charge for this, right? Because people need this. I was like, charge for my hobby? Like, what are you talking about? I was like, what? It went to the point where they would actually what do you call it, like do love donations after the meditations, because I wouldn't charge for it. And so they would end up like giving me they called it love donations. And just so that they can show the appreciation that way. And I never thought that was possible, to have that exchange, to share that wisdom that could help someone, like transform their life completely. I never thought that was a thing ever, from the beginning. My first dream was to become a doctor after college. And then that one pivoted, and then it was acupuncturist, and that one also pivoted. And I just never thought that all this experience was just helping me to create a foundation to build that spiritual practice upon. Because I am grateful for having all that experience. I am grateful that I have the wisdom from the Western medicine perspective and the Eastern medicine perspective. Because when I'm working with my clients, I'm not just spitting out spiritual jargon. I'm not just hovering here. It's like I can anchor those spiritual codes into their physical body. And I also understand and I can see what that is doing to their body. This is how I'm able to achieve, with in co-creation with my clients, we can create such massive transformations because I have that foundation that can support the physical body to receive those light codes. Yeah. So yeah, from there, I was like, okay, I graduated and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna start somewhere. So one of my she was more like an upperclassman, but she came to my meditation. She's like, I have an office space, just come and do your healings there, just do that. I was like, okay. So I started, and people would come in and I would do past life regressions, even though I do past, it's like it was never past life. It would take them to the future, it would take them to other dimensions. I mean, it was incredible. I would do energy healings, I'll do activations, I'll do clearing, and people would come to me and they would, I would give them mentorship, and I was like, okay, I see now, I can feel it now. And it just kind of went from after there. Spirit was like, okay, it's time for you to go online. And I was like, okay, what's the purpose? And Spirit was like, you need to, like, more people need to experience your energy. More people need to experience what you're bringing through. So I jumped online, and yeah, I've been doing it since then. Yeah.
That is amazing. And that right there, like there's so many pieces. Like you're into publishing books and stuff like this. So I really want to talk like the power in sharing that. I hope that people picked up the little things. Like you went to do something, you had a plan. You allowed that to change.
Yes.
You
Oh,
allowed yourself to step in and see like, hey, these are gifts. And that's one of the things that has been truly hard for me because I'll walk my dog, random people come up to me and tell me the most random medical conditions. And
yes.
I am like, I did not need to know about that body part and what's going on. I don't even know your name. Like, hey, I'm Jen. And then somehow I forget the rest of the conversation and I run into him like a few months later and it's like, I worked for 5 years to figure out what was going
Yeah.
on. You told me to ask for this. And I'm like, I don't even know what those things are. I just think this happens to everyone. So I think that your journey is amazing. And it's so powerful that you stood up and said, hey, I could do my boards. I could do this. That's a lot of schooling. That's a
Yeah.
lot of time and effort.
Yeah.
But it wasn't aligned with these gifts that you were given at birth. So I think like we need to celebrate that first off, and how you are now stepping into helping other people realize that hey, we don't have to hide in the corner.
Yes. And here's the thing, I want to, talk about it because in both pivots, after I graduated from college, like that took me some time for me to embrace. Because again, it takes a lot of time and effort to move through these programs. And when you have a plan and you've been working on it, and spirit just pivots you, like, what the? Like I had to give myself time. And both times, it took me about 2.5 years to be okay. I went through a grieving process, as if like I lost something, because I did. That was my dream. That's what I thought I was here to do. And both times it's like, nope, this was just a little segue we wanted you to learn to enhance what you're here to do. And so I gave myself that time, but it's like I said yes to it, while kicking and screaming. And I wanted to point that out because it's not always easy. It's not always easy. We have a plan and we are humans. It's like, okay, I'm going to become a doctor. The salary is going to be amazing. I can take care of my family. I can live my dream life. And it's like, nope. What? Okay, I'm going to be an acupuncturist. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to heal people. No, what? What do you want me to do now? Because I'm human. Like I need to create something. I need to, create a better life. Like, come on, give me some. So all of this, all of these pivots, it's like we need to give ourselves time to grieve what we thought was. We absolutely need to. And it's okay if you're kicking and screaming while moving. So far as you're moving forward, please do so. But yeah, you can scream, you can kick and scream. Make sure you're moving forward. Just take it one step at a time. Divine, I woke up today. I have no bloody clue what my life is all about anymore. I thought it was this. It's not. And I have no idea what this new journey is taking me or whether it's going to help me create the life that I've always desired, the life that fires me up. But you know what? I trust you more than anything in this world. And I'm just going to take it one step at a time. So just show me the way. As I'm talking about this, like just recently, like last week, I went through a major soul death. And so this is coming from freshly another pivot, where it's like, oh my God, come on. I thought I was done with this. Major soul death. And I am in a place right now where it's like, okay, just show me what I need to do. Because I have no idea anymore. And it's okay. There's a part where you surrender. All you can do is just surrender. I give it up because I tried. I put everything in there. I kicked and screamed. I did everything. It's not going right. So you know better. You know what I cannot see. You can see what's ahead of me. So just light up my path. Show me what I need to do. Show me what I need to do today, the step that I need to take, the person I need to talk to, where I need to go. I will do it. And we need to get to that place. And of course, give yourself time to grieve and cry and be angry about the pivot. It's okay. It's part of being human. So it's not always easy, but you just take it one step at a time and you just follow the path. So far as it makes your heart sing, nervous a little bit, butterflies, you're on the right path. And you're like, okay, there's something, right? Yeah.
I think that I know that that's really important for me to hear. So I know that it's important for other people to hear. It's like there is this like death grief when you pivot, especially when you have worked your tushy off to make something happen, and that like this conversation couldn't come at a perfect time because Feed Your Business with Love has been around for 3.5 years and I am struggling to let go of the name. Because I am so attached to it. And does the name really matter? Well, it does, kind of. But I feel like you have tapped into this inner power of listening. And I think for me, I know that's one of the things I like to stay in that busy mind. Not in that listening mind, but that busy mind that's telling me, don't pivot. You've put in so much time. You did the 12 years of college. Keep going. Like, how did you or anybody who's like stuck in the same position as me, because I know that there's a lot of me's out there because I talk to them all the time. You have a superpower of saying like, this isn't aligned. What do you do in that moment to start re-tapping in? Because I'm sure you get caught up in the busy mind too, with the grief and this new thing and these new downloads that are always coming at us left and right. How do you allow yourself, I know it's kicking and screaming and moving forward, but is there something you do to get in your body enough to be able to reconnect to source?
So, and that is the secret here, is the connection to source. That's the part that never gets severed. Whether it doesn't matter if I'm in the darkest, I will still feel the light. In this last soul death that I just recently went through, I saw myself like being pulled into the earth, going back into the womb of the Divine Mother. And she's just holding me in there. And it's like I'm regressing back into a baby. And I saw my guides and just all my team surrounding me. And they just had this look. It's like they wanted to come in, they just, rescue me and hold me. But they just had to hold the space for me because they understood that I needed to go through this. And they just held the space for me. And it was comforting to know that they were still there. It was comforting to know and feel that the divine is still here with me. That is really the saving grace here, because without that connection, I don't know how I would be able to pop out of that darkness. So whether, mine is with the divine, maybe yours, can be with God, maybe yours is with nature, maybe yours is with a certain goddess. I don't care. So far as it's a higher power, a higher pure divine power that you connect to, which is, we know that it's all the same energy, we just have different names, right? You have to have a connection with a higher power. It might be with your higher self. I mean, that's a non-negotiable. In my teaching, like in my work with my clients, that's the first thing we do. Let's connect you with your higher self. Let's plug you in. That is going to be a saving grace, because when you are down there in the darkness, guess what? Your higher self will hold your hand and lead you back step by step. That higher power connection with your team, with your higher self, with the divine, that is what will get you out of that stuckness. This is the way I see it. It's like when you're in that darkness, it's like you're blindfolded. You have no idea. You can't see the road ahead of you. You don't even have the desire to take the step. In physical terms, if you're blindfolded and you're sitting in your house and you wanted to go outside, you would hope that someone will come and take your hand and lead you outside, right? It's the same thing. Spiritually, you got to have your team on board, because they will lead you out. And all you have to just think about is just one step. What do I need to do right now to move forward? What's that? Like, you got to ask that question. No, you don't go outside of yourself to ask someone else. You ask yourself that question, because in that spot, when you are in that darkness, in that transformative space, you got to connect with yourself. You got to connect with your heart. What do I need to do right now? And maybe you say, take a nap. Maybe you say, go eat breakfast, go drink some water. And it sounds so simple, but even just doing those will change something. It will give you the energy to take the next step and the next step and the next step. So first thing, higher self connection. I don't care what you call this higher self. Make that solid, because it never changes. Regardless of what goes on in your life, it will never change. You can count on that connection. And then second, be with yourself. Ask yourself the questions. What do I need in this moment? What do I need in this moment? Just so that I can move that fraction of a step. I don't want to just, I'm not talking about leaps and bounds. Just what do I need to do right now to just move a little bit? And then take that step. If it is to drink water, grab your glass, drink water, and then ask again, what's next?
I love that you've made it so, like, like the way you explain it is so simple, because it really can be that simple.
Yeah.
And we often forget this. I forgot it tons of times, especially on my healing journey. Like, it's trying to re-step into gifts that you hide, trying to go through big T, little T trauma. We think we have to take those huge leaps.
Yeah.
But sometimes, like you said, it's that micro step. It's the half of a baby step. It's that tiny little movement forward that can make a big difference. And as you were saying that, it's like I want to reach for my cup of water, because the act of drinking does allow you, I can feel that, like, it connects you to your body because you can feel something moving through your body. And I'm like, genius. That is genius. Drink more water.
And that's the thing, it usually starts with how we can nourish our physical bodies. But usually when we're in this spiritual transformation, we want to reach for something spiritual, something quantum leapy, like we think about the big stuff, like an angel is going to pop up and just grab us. And yet it's like, okay, it's your body that's feeling the heaviness. Let's cater to that, because if you have physical energy to physically move your body, that's going to help you out of that stuckness. So it usually starts with that. Go take a shower, go sit in the sun, go eat some food. And you're probably like, that's not spiritual. Oh yes, it is. It is more spiritual than you can ever imagine. And that's why, not part of my mission, my main mission is combining the spirit with the body. They're meant to be one. They're meant to be one. And everything if we take care of our physical body, we can actually embody more of our spiritual essence. So yeah, it comes back to the body. What do you need to do in that moment? You feel the sun, feel the warmth of the sun. If you're feeling cold inside, your heart is breaking, go sit in the sun. You'll be amazed what will happen. Just sit in the sun, close your eyes, and just feel that warmth on your skin. Very soon you'll feel it penetrating your skin and going into your body. Very soon you're going to feel that warmth spread throughout your entire body. And that's going to do something. That's going to move you. That's going to light up something again within your heart. And that's all you need, just that spark. And the rest will follow. It's the simplest steps, the simplest things, the little things that create the biggest ripples. And we need to honor those. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're really bringing me back, because I've been in the spin out cycle recently. And it's not just me. It's, again, I pick up a ton of energy from my clients, which I try to like move through. But I feel like we've been in the spin out cycle. So we've been through a lot in the last few years. There's been a lot of energy shifts in the planet. I think there's been a lot of amazing shifts of energy in the planet. But for me, I've wanted to make massive changes. And this conversation is really reminding me those simple things are what's going to make that impact. Like you say ripple, and I'm like, how do we get my tsunamis that I want to make? We make a lot of ripples.
And then they compound to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah, absolutely.
So I love that you've brought it back to something simple. Go outside, warm up, drink some water, feel the water going through your body. Like as you're saying that, that was the vision that was coming through me. It was like, if you actually take a moment to think about that sip of fluid, whatever it is, water, tea, whatever's making you happy in the moment, having it go through your body, you can actually feel it touch your mouth, go through your throat, move through your body. What a great way to just reconnect and slow down, if only for a moment.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, we even since last week, we with the solstice just around the corner, the new moon in Gemini, there's been huge massive energy. If anybody looked at the Schumann resonance, what is it called, the graph of the heartbeat of the earth, it is insane what it looks like, and it's never looked like that. Like it has like sacred geometries in there. Usually it's just like a line, and then you see some of the colors showing the intensity of the vibration coming through. This is, I mean, I saw it and I was like, oh my goodness, no wonder I had a soul death. Like, and if I'm experiencing this, I wonder how many people are going through that same rebirth. There's massive energies coming through right now, because the earth itself is rebirthing at this time. This is the rebirth we've been waiting for. The earth moving into that 5D energy is happening right now. And guess what? We're all moving. We're all doing that same thing. So imagine what is happening in your life when every time we go through an intense portal like that, anytime that we get huge influx of frequencies pouring over us, there's massive transformations that happen in our bodies, in our lives, in our world. And when you learn how to take care of yourself from that foundational piece, the first thing I always tell people, whether they get in a DNA activation or we're going through a massive portal, drink water. That is so easy. It's like drink water, because the water molecules are able to absorb more light and distribute it into your body, so your body can adjust to the high frequency more easily.
I had to just drink some water.
It does, because it ends up lessening some of the, what do you call it, like the what word am I looking for? The experiences that, some of the unpleasant experiences that people experience when there's such a huge difference between the frequencies, between the body and what is coming through. It's the adjustment phase where headaches, nausea, irritation, like moodiness, all of that, right? Because your body is trying to adjust. It's like, whoa, look at all this frequency I received, all this, bright energy that I received. I need some time to adjust, to integrate it into myself. And so it does certain things to get you to just slow down, to just relax so that it can do its work. If you drink water, the water molecules would adhere to the light frequency and just spread it throughout your body. And your body's like, oh, okay, I'm good. Okay, we're good. We're just gonna breathe this in, because it's already integrated into every part of your cell through the water. So simple. Drink water. Start there, and the rest will show itself, whether you need to eat something green, or like your body will tell you this. During these times, your body will always tell you what it needs. It might be like, hey, go walk in nature. Hey, go get some flowers and put it next to you, smell the flowers. I need you to eat something. I need you, like, the body is always communicating to us what it needs in order to do what it needs to do. Yeah.
But we have to listen.
Yes, we do.
That's the hard part.
We need to not only listen, but to trust it and take that step. For me, it sounds easy for me because it's part of my gift. Like listening to my body it's a norm for me. When I was younger, I knew when I was about to get sick. I mean, up till now, I still do, but it started when I was very young. I could tell when I was about to get sick. I would start craving stuff like oranges, green, like greens, like spinach. And I would just eat, like sometimes I would just eat unripe, like lemons. I would just eat it. And I had no idea. But now I do. That was vitamin C. I was getting myself a boost of vitamin C. I knew what I needed to eat in order to feel better. I remember in college, like my classmates will come to my house so I can cook for them when they're about to get sick. I had this soup that I would make. It was very spicy. And as they're eating it, their nose is running, they're sweating, and by the time they're done and they go home, take a sleep, they wake up and they're good. I've always known that because I listen to my body and I take that step. And I know now that not everybody has that, what word am I looking for? Like that gift of listening and taking that step. But that's why there are people like me who can show the way. We can share our experiences and be like, hey, your body does talk to you.
And it'll start screaming at you if you
don't. Oh,
listen.
God. And that's the part we don't want. Right?
That's personally when I pay attention is when she's screaming.
Yes. Yeah. Usually she's like, okay, we're gonna start out with a craven. How about you drink some echinacea tea? How about you drink some lemonade or orange juice, or just go take a nap? And you're like, nah, I think I'm good. I can make it through. Next day you get a headache. Like, oh, I'm good. I'll just take a Tylenol. And then next thing you know, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't move. I can't move my body. I am in bed. I am coughing. There's nothing I can do. And it's like you had all of this beautiful love taps from the beginning. If you had taken those, then it wouldn't get there. And it partly is, sometimes we have to learn through that, right? Because then hopefully next time we're like, I don't want to be in bed for like a whole week or 2 weeks. I want to catch it. But some people will learn, and others, it still takes a while. It takes them to like a brush with death in order to shift, right? And that's their journey. We got to honor that. And even if they don't learn, again, that's their journey. But at least there are people like myself who will continue to share and let other people who are ready and willing to take the step and learn to have the information. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we all need to get in your space, moongoddessacademy.com. And I am feeling super called out because I have not learned from any of the near death multiple days stints in the hospital.
Oh,
But I'm learning. Again, it's
yes,
all
you are.
growing and it's all in time. And I'm turning 40 next week. And I'm like, you know what? 40 is the
Girl.
new time for, like, I'm calling it 40 and free,
Yes.
because I want to be free of all these old stories
Yes.
to listen. So I know that I'm going to be hanging out at moongoddessacademy.com. I hope you as a listener are going to be hanging out too, because drinking water, that's something that I can do, something I
Yes.
need to do more of. And in this conversation, hadn't realized how powerful just that small action could be to, again, ripple out, make those big impacts.
Yes. You know, I have this big bottle here. I mean, it's huge. And I fill it up and I make sure that I drink that all day. Like that's, if I don't drink that, I know I didn't get enough fluid in me, you know. But I wanted to go back to the 40. So, oh my gosh, there's something about, because I turned 40 in September, and there's an initiation that happens. There's like almost like a life review that happens. Like no joke. I was talking to some of my friends who are, they're the wisdom keepers. They're ahead of me, and they're like, yeah, there was something about 40. It was not easy at all. You review your life. You're like, is this like this far? Is this really all there is? And if not, what else? What is it that I really want? And we see this in women. I always say, like, women who hit 40 and begin to go into 50, they start to what word am I looking for? Like really sit in their bodies, like get comfortable in their bodies and in their life. They begin to create what exactly it is that they want their life to be, and they start to be unapologetic about this. I have been very blessed to be surrounded by women who are much older than me. This has been since I was young. And so I've had the experience of seeing, and it gets me excited to grow. It gets me excited to, age more and become wise as them. But something happens because I'm going through it right now. That whole life review thing. You're like, dang, like everything that I've done, like I should have been further than this, or what else do I want? How can I make this happen? And so it is a blessing. It is truly 40 initiates us into the journey of the wise woman. Because after 40, things just begin to fall in place. Like we really put down the foundational breaks. Like we start to build what we really want, and we become unapologetic about it. Is beautiful. I'm excited for us. And
I am too.
anyone who's about to be 40.
Cheers. Cheers to that, because I just call it 40 and free, and it's free
Yes.
from others' expectations, free
Yes.
from all those stories of people that said that I couldn't do something or shouldn't do something, or I was the weirdo because I was using energetic healing when I was 3 years old to heal my grandpa's wounds. Like, I'm over it. Like,
Yep.
those are no longer coming forward with me. And I really feel that the last few years has really been an opportunity for everyone, regardless of their age, to be like, what is not coming forward? And what baby steps can we take to get there?
Exactly.
How can we make this happen? And this conversation is like blowing my mind. I'm like, I know that this podcast was not mine. You don't just wake up and launch a podcast in one day
Yeah.
when you don't have connection to source.
Yes.
And it seems like every time I have an interview, it not only serves me, but I always get the feedback from the other people. That's why my mission is like, your story is somebody's life raft, because sharing, being expressive, putting it out there, that's where the magic happens.
Exactly.
And I'm
It's
just so
not.
grateful for you and what you're helping people with. And I mean, through your publishing and through your academy, there's just so much magic. I call it magic. Some people don't like that.
Yes, it
I'm
is
always going to
magic.
call it magic, because I truly believe it's like this magical light that comes
Yes.
out of us. I appreciate that you're helping others be that beacon of light.
Well, it is. I want to say, like, it's my pleasure, but it's not all on me, right? I'm just going to keep moving on my journey, and I'm going to share what I learned. And if that helps someone, then my work is done.
Like big old mic drop right there. So if someone were to walk away and keep something with them for this moment, maybe this week or a lifetime, what would you want that to be?
I want you to know this, regardless of what you're experiencing in this moment, the pain, the sorrow, the hurt, any of it, it doesn't define you. It is simply a point in life where you get to choose and pivot where you want to go. It doesn't last. In the moment, it feels like it's a lifetime. I know it, but it doesn't last. The truth is that the sun will always shine again. But in the darkest times, it is important for you to lean into something that is greater than you. Something that you can count on. A higher power, your higher self, nature. I don't care what you call it. And really open up to receive that grace and support. Have grace for yourself, have compassion for yourself. And instead of rushing to move outside of yourself to find this thing, this grace and compassion and love from another person, stop and find it within yourself first. Because it won't matter what people are trying to beam at you if you're not feeling it. But it will matter if you feel it within yourself. It will matter, and it will get you out of the darkness. And one step at a time. There's no rush. Nobody's judging you. Nobody's going to grade you on how big or small the step is. It has nothing to do with anybody else and everything to do about you. It's your journey. So you do what you can do. And that is more than enough.